Kamala Harris does not care.
I'm speaking.
Shut up!
I'm very angry at her that she'd weaponized the justice system against me and other people.
We created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs.
Here's the truth. No.
His brother endorsed me.
I was watching Waters before the town hall.
You better thank a union member.
I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence.
Everybody should end up in the same place.
I've seen that clip 100 times, and it still sends chills up.
Yes.
She thinks we're all on board with it.
President Trump, how are you specifically preparing for the debate versus Harrison?
I'm not. She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate.
Next question, please. That's it? That's it.
Shut up, silly woman.
Glad to be with you. Oh, it's Monday. It's a busy day. It's a busy week. We do tomorrow have the live stream of the debate. As you just saw that intro, the way it was, it felt like the MTV Spaceman should have been on there.
That'd have been great.
A lot of the hip hop.
Very, very retro.
Yes, very retro. And we have senior advisor to the Trump campaign, Corey Lewandowski, on the show today. So everyone here trying to keep the horse crap to a minimum. This is a respectable person.
Fine.
And what else do we have? The Haitians are, well, they're here. They were coming, now they're here. And I don't know if you know the results in Springfield, Ohio, but they're not good. Not good.
Fewer ducks.
And Jean Carroll, we talked about her last week, and Donald Trump, of course, said she would not be the chosen one. like the rape victim Messiah, allegedly, of course, which didn't happen. There's some information out there that you may not know. So a little bit more of a fact check on that, and some new polling coming out that's pretty good for the Trump campaign. So I don't know if they're still censoring Corey Lewandowski. At one point, he was kind of being throttled, anything relating to him on Facebook and YouTube. So if at some point today, watching on YouTube, which you shouldn't be, you see this, head on over to Rumble. It's a weekday show, 10 a.m. Eastern. My question to you today is, which migrants make the worst migrants? Captain Morgan, number 2 CEO, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for coming to me right after that.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Trick question. Answer is Haitians.
It's been been an interesting few days.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic.
Answer is Haitians. And when you hear this, you know it is. You know him. You love him. And he's actually going to be at the comic strip in Edmonton, Alberta. That's in a giant mall, September 12th and 14th. That was the wrong theme song. Bryan Callen, how are you, sir?
So I can't ride a horse to that kind of song.
His show is on Mug Club on Tuesdays. Off Limits. How are you, Bryan?
Off Limits. I'm great, buddy. Good to be here. Good to be in third chair.
What's McCall stand for?
Well, that's a very expensive little enclave in Idaho that I don't own a house in, but I've been on that lake, and somebody recognized me. They owned a merch store and said, "Here you go. I want to give you some merch." I said, "Make sure it's big because I have a vast back, as you know."
Yeah.
My back is vast.
So you decided to grace us with this.
I decided to wear this as an advertisement for a small area in McCall where the property value...
An area where the property value is insane that you obviously wouldn't be able to afford, but you wear the shirt to make people think that you do. It's incredibly sad.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm a sad man. I'm a sad man.
His entire closet is just Tahoe.
Yeah.
St. Croix,
Lucia,
St. Bart's, St. Bart's in French.
Other rich places on the shirt. Other rich places.
Although I'm glad you burned the Epstein Island one. And when you hear this, September 19th at the Big Laugh Comedy Club, Josh Firestine, thank you for being here. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm just glad that Bryan's wearing the sweater. It's black is slimming, so that back is not intimidating me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
so intimidating.
I am all traps, though, huh, guys?
Yeah, well, that's a sign of anabolic.
No, shrugs.
Thirst trap, maybe.
Shrugs, yeah.
Shrugs and living close to the
Shrugs
bone.
from how often you have to answer? I don't know. Let's.
Oh, why didn't I think of that joke? Foiled again. The kid's good.
So Tayler Hansen, I don't even know, he's a journalist, and of course we've been filling you in on what's going on with the tenant media situation. And to be clear, it seems like people like Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, these other contributors, people who are creating content, were duped. Obviously, there were some Russians at play, and it could also be, of course, you could argue intelligence agencies because they knew about it for a year, and it does seem like maybe there were some people at the top who knew about it. Yeah. I very much don't think that this is the case with this next person, and the indictment pretty much says this next person was not knowingly involved, but that doesn't change the fact that YouTube permanently banned without trial the journalist Tayler Hansen.
So, just permanently banned on YouTube, no explanation at all. Says I can never own a channel or operate a channel ever again, so that's lovely. Obviously admits the DOJ indictment of the alleged activities of Russian funding. Tenant Media was banned almost immediately. Lauren Chen was banned almost immediately, and now I was banned with no explanation, even though the indictment states, if these charges are true, these allegations are true, we're all victims, the people that were hosts there and me as a reporter there. So it's interesting. It seems like the censorship czar is back out in full force. It's election season, baby. So yeah, ban with no explanation. I wonder if they're going to stop here, or are they just going to take it all the way? They're going to ban anyone that was ever affiliated with this brand, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. But there you go. Permanently banned. You got to love it. I love America, y'all. Censorship is great. Keep it up.
And Taylor is over there at, he's on Rumble. You can go follow him there. Yeah. Of course, you can follow him on X. Show him some love because he has done some really good work on the ground that a lot of people out there are not willing to take the time to do. It takes a while to travel, get things done, chase down some leads. YouTube removed him right off the bat. And this is the problem with living it. Remember, like I used to say, I say that we used to be censored by the FCC. It used to be regulated. Now it's everybody is the FCC, and YouTube goes, oh, some people believe X. Even though it's not included in the indictment, let's remove him immediately. That is far worse than the FCC fining you for using the S word. But YouTube was decent enough to leave Mr. Hansen a voicemail.
Hello, please leave a message after the tone.
Yeah, hi, Taylor? This is YouTube calling? Literally, I'm calling from YouTube. And so we had to delete your account, and I thought you should know that it's nothing personal. It's just that, the things you say and the people you're involved with is all icky and stuff. So yeah, that's it. And if you want to start a new YouTube channel or something, that's a super big no. Oh my god, I just realized this is a breakup. A breakup voicemail. Hashtag been there. Anyway, you can't tube it anymore. So good luck and stuff. Ciao.
That woman, by the way, makes $250 million a year.
Wow.
She's personable.
Yes.
And not formal, which I appreciate. She doesn't let all that money get to her head.
Exactly.
You know what? He's not allowed. So just to be clear, he is a person. He can't have the Tayler Hansen channel. It's
gone.
It's gone.
They took it down.
It.
Yeah. And he can't start any other channels. He can't host any other shows. We found this out the hard way with Alex Jones. Wow. There's certain circumvention rules. It's ridiculous. These are allegations that are made against a company, not him, that he happened to be associated with. And if anything, he was an unwilling or
they're made against
participant.
A company, and to be clear, founders of the company who, from what
victims.
We know, knew about it and duped these people.
The creators, which he was one of.
So, yeah, not everyone is innocent, but the people who you see, the media just wants to throw it out there, Russia. It's unfortunate. All right. And by the way, when you're talking about Russian interference, of course, all foreign governments want to interfere. If you want to talk about funding, it's okay, funding, great. Now do the New York Times. Do PBS, for crying out loud. I get
People
it. It's a complete double standard. Yeah, it's a complete double standard that's a play. Well, here, I don't know if you know this, but this is funded entirely from this. Mug's not a foreign caliphate, so thank you. And you just affected the outcome of this election last week with the Mug Club Undercover, so we appreciate it. Speaking of outcomes, this next one is bad. And it's not because...
It depends.
No, it does not depend.
Well, if
it
you're
is
Haitian, it might not be.
Yeah, if you're Haitian, that's not... Well, you go from eating dirt cookies to eating your neighbor's cat.
You're like, wow, y'all let these run around?
So 6 months ago, we warned you that Haitians were coming in record numbers. They were being... Let's be clear. They weren't coming in. They were being sent in. They were being flown in, bussed in by a political party who has a vested interest in purchasing votes. Let's be really clear about that. Mm-hmm. Well, now they're in Ohio, one small town in Ohio, I believe population about 58,000, and close to 20,000 Haitian migrants. And they are there, and the results are not great for many reasons.
And I'm getting out here every day, and I'm broadcasting this, and you guys are just sitting up there in suits or something. Like, I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into... they flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't even want to, like, seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants, because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them.
And just to be clear, that man is a comedian, Anthony Harris, and so you may think this is not a real story, but more from him later, actually. Anyone can be in investigative journalism. But yes, can confirm that Haitians in this town have been eating ducks in the park. Least happy about it, by the way, is this guy. Yes.
Yes.
Poor.
It's I don't know if that's a real.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you're not supposed to build fires in the park.
Right.
Yeah.
But to be fair, if you sous vide a duck.
Yes.
With a lingonberry sauce.
Yes.
Right? There's some great Haitian recipes for duck. I'm just trying to.
Why did the world accept lingonberry? It's a Swedish thing. I don't think it exists anywhere else, and I don't like the Swedes.
Well, there's a lot of Swedes.
That's why the Haitians are here, though.
They have shorefront property in Haiti.
Yes, and McCall.
I don't think Haitians knew what ducks were. Are ducks even down there?
Yes.
You know
ducks
what?
are everywhere.
Gerald,
they migrate.
No, you could
They're
be,
migrants themselves.
Sea ducks are everywhere.
Wrong, because I don't know if you know this, but in Haiti, they simply kill animals to extinction.
Well, there might not be duck. They might be gone.
Yeah, they might be gone. If they're eating dirt cookies, I would imagine there aren't many ducks.
It's very sad. The Haitian elephant was...
Oh, geez.
That's what happened.
Well-
you should have tried Haitian dodo. It was great.
Yes.
the dodo.
Sous
Haitian
vide that,
dodo.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Did I mention lingonberry sauce?
You did mention lingonberry.
Okay.
I'm more of a cloudberry guy. So
Papa Doc says to cook it to internal temperature.
why do they sound Jamaican?
I was going to
It's
say.
a French cop's about, and you
Thank
just...
you. Thank you.
So the media wants you to believe that this influx of Haitians is a good thing. Let me read you some headlines here. All references available, louderwithcrowder.com. You can click the link in the description. The New York Times says, by most accounts, the Haitians have helped revitalize Springfield. Is that what we're calling it?
The accounts come from Haitians.
They are paying taxes on their wages and spending money at Walmart, because we like them now. On Sundays, they gather at churches for boisterous, joyful services in Haitian Creole. By the way, here's an example of said joyful services. Cultural differences. Not
Sign me up.
That's the hyena.
I made it work. From the Daily Mail. Explosion of newcomers in dying Ohio City boosts its economy after decades of shrinking population. But not everyone's happy about it. Again, according to the 2020 census, the population of Springfield, Ohio, 58,000. All right. Now, you have 20,000 Haitians who have been sent to this city, to be clear. It's not like they ended up here accidentally. And we'll show you some more clips, and we'll get to some key facts into why there can be some cultural differences. And I'm glad that we're past the point of saying, oh, this is racism.
Yeah.
It has nothing. It would be the same thing if people were coming from El Salvador and killing your cat or
Sweden
dog.
or Sweden.
Or Sweden. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they eat in Sweden aside from lingonberry and meatballs and beds that fold into an armoire. But I don't know if they eat it. Just fact check false. The city now also, by the way, faces a drought of cocoa butter and bike theft. It's up 30%. The cocoa butter, to be clear, is not for the skin of the migrants. It's actually an ingredient in a well-known Haitian.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's...
Well...
Take him to the dog pound, huh?
You
Jeez.
suck. That's fine.
And this man, Anthony Harris, who was a comedian, right? So some people think this is a fake story. It's not. He's actually documented dozens of examples of Haitians crashing their vehicles. And I'll get to a theory as to why this may be the case.
Who did this? Who?
What's me?
Whose car? Who did this? You did this? Yeah. How did it happen? How did this happen?
He come here.
Yeah.
He check. He no can the friend.
Get Anthony here. We just got hit.
No, I don't break any.
You didn't break nothing, but you hit us. And you pulled out in front of a car right there.
Because, no, you push the brake.
We're at a red light.
Not red light. The light green.
What do you think we should do?
I think these motherfuckers need to go to driving school before they get handed a motherfucking set of keys or before they get handed a damn car.
They just handing out driver's license like candy.
You get one. I think they need to attend the driving course before they get to drive again.
Their kids run butt naked. They throw trash out in their backyards with maggots all over them. They're trash. Send them back where the they came from. They're trash. They're straight trash. I can't stand it.
Nope.
They get by with everything.
Well, that's why I'm running for mayor.
Man,
Anthony Harris running for mayor.
So, look, you may not have picked up on some subtext there. The man interviewing her is black. So initially the media would have said, racist. They go back where they came from. What do you mean they? They're trash. What do you mean they're trash? And they would assume that she means black people. She's talking to a black American. He says, I'm running for mayor. She says, someone has to. It has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with a culture that is incompatible with the United States of America. And I don't just mean the values of freedom of speech, of the Second Amendment, of rugged individualism. I don't mean this idea of personal responsibility, of self-governance, of strong communities. I mean simple things like your day-to-day, getting insurance when you drive your car. Let me explain something to you. To be clear, Haiti, people will get more upset if you say it's a crap hole. It's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, okay? It is the kidnapping capital of the world. Haitian illegal migrants in the United States are the most likely demographic as far as illegals to commit crime. And in Haiti, they eat dirt cookies. So, let me tell you, that's an actual thing. Dirt cookies. The crazy thing is many of them pay for dirt cookies.
There's a baker.
So imagine you come here and you see ducks in the park.
You're like, oh.
You probably also see free duck.
Holy shit.
It's like Shangri-La.
Well, there are no ducks there anymore. It's duckless.
But now it's a duck pot pie.
We have certain social mores, certain grounding here, written contracts and unwritten contracts. And I think a lot of people in the Western world, particularly the United States, you're very spoiled. All of us are. And that you think compromise. You think that diplomacy is the way of the world. And it's not. It's not the way of the world today, and it's not the way of the world historically. So if you have someone who comes from a place where they've likely seen a very high percentage of family members die in the streets, starve, you're talking about the kinds of problems that you might think no longer exist in the modern world, and they come here. And they go, wait, okay, I'll drive a car.
Yeah.
People say, you got to get insurance. Well, what happens if I don't get insurance? Well, you might get pulled over, and if you get pulled over, they'll say you're driving without insurance. Well, what happens? Well, then you might have a suspended license. I don't have a license. Well, you need to get a license. What happens if I drive without a license? Well, they won't let you drive. Well, what if I do drive? Well, depends how many times they catch you, and they might then take you to jail where you get 3 square meals a day, which you've never had in your life. I'm not going to get insurance or a driver's license, and I'm certainly not going to stop and call the police so we can exchange information. I'm just going to take this new car 0% down because, of course, Uncle Sam makes sure that happens because I'm an impoverished minority. And if I crash into somebody, screw them because I don't care so long as I'm not being devoured by potential cannibals. You can't take these two types of cultures and simply force them into a collision. That's what we're dealing with. That's what the people of Ohio are dealing with. When right now you have Ron Howard coming out saying he's disappointed with J.D. Vance, and Hillbilly Elegy was shining a light on the fact that people like this, people in a city in Ohio, feel completely forgotten and left behind. How would you feel if you're in a place that's struggling and they bring in 20,000 migrants who have destroyed your city and couldn't care less about your safety, your well-being, or your community? Nothing to do with race. That's why you have black Americans who are just as upset. Is it starting to become clear?
Yeah. And this administration thinks it's a great idea to take 20,000 people and put them in a city of just about 60,000 people and say, but they're revitalizing the area. You have no idea what you're talking about. Paying taxes and buying stuff at Walmart doesn't take care of everything else that you've done with this. Let's say that they're the best people in the world. You don't put 20,000 in a 60,000 city. You don't do that. That's stupid. You certainly don't put Haitians there.
Well, let me ask you this. So if San Francisco, if you have a few blocks where it is an incredible concentration of Chinese migrants, right? What do you call it?
Chinatown.
Okay. If you have a bunch of Italians who move into a neighborhood in New York City, right, early on in the city, that place ends up being called?
Little Italy.
Little Italy. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think happens if you take 20,000 Haitian migrants send them to a city of 58,000 people, but with no coaching, no naturalization oath, no introduction to Western culture, what do you think you get?
Le Grand Haiti. You call it Le Grand Haiti chaos.
How could you expect anything other than Haiti?
You get a duck-free zone.
That's what I was going to say. But the problem is luckily in the summer, in the winter, they fly south. So there are no ducks there in the winter.
They're getting the hell out of there right now.
So now the government has to subsidize ducks.
Yes. Well, that's how you get them out. You say that Haitians are actually disrupting duck migration patterns.
Well, look, if they take on Canadian
flying V is now just an S. It's retarded.
Exactly.
Let's get out of here.
Canadian geese, fine. They will at least put up a fight. You earned your kill.
And they're really easy to decapitate.
That's not nice. They're looking for bread. They come over to you and you grab them by the neck. Jerks.
Bring in 20,000 Haitians. Basically, at that point, what will be close to 30% of the population of the city? You're going to get Haiti.
Yes.
The left says that's a good thing. I say America, the United States, is better than Haiti. What say you? I think it's as simple as that. And it's not the people in charge of policy who have to live with the outcome. For the residents of Springfield, of 58,000 compared to 20,000 Haitian migrants, it is a living nightmare.
I'm done with what I'm seeing. It is so unsafe in my neighborhood anymore. I have the homeless that were trying to camp out, and I have made concessions with them, and I try to help them the best I can to keep them from trying to squat on my property.
So I live in Springfield, Ohio, where the influx of Haitians are, and we have had an enormous amount of car accidents because they don't know how to drive.
And I don't know what kind of label you can put on this, but I'm taking my cart down the grocery aisle, and I have 3 immigrants strapped across the aisle. Seen me coming, would not budge.
Men that cannot speak English in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard. And I can't. Look at me, I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to. My husband is elderly, and last night, after living in this home for 45 years, he said, Noelle, guess what? It's time to pack up and move.
And my insurance has gone up over $100 a month within 6 months. I pay over $420 a month for insurance for full coverage on 2 cars.
I would like to see them have some common respect, some common decency. Do not try to bully your way through Springfield, Ohio. It's not going to work out well.
I understand they're here under temporary protected status, and you're protecting them, and I understand that our city services are overwhelmed and understaffed, but who's protecting us? If we're protecting them, who's protecting me?
Did she have to dress like a ghost on a rainy night? You know what I mean? Is that fair? I mean, you wear a T-shirt that doesn't flow as much.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're speaking in a very haunted...
Yes.
Right? I mean, if there was a haunted silo, that would be what a human... Yes, that's it. The human version of a haunted silo. I think a haunted grain silo.
I think all haunted silos are haunted. So many people die in those things.
That's true.
They fall and they sink.
Maybe silo is the wrong. I apologize for the
They're
metaphor.
giant phallic death chambers.
They are. They are
silos.
Pigeons. The whole thing.
You know how you know it's true? Hey, Mission Control, I'm sure I don't even know if we have these stats. How many people do you think have cars in Haiti? You expect them to drive?
Yeah.
Do you think in Haiti they're getting their sweet 16 Toyota with a dirt cookie in the glove box?
Aww.
Of course they're not going to be able. And then you ask, okay, what are the crime rates? What kind of insurance? How many? Let's just not go. How many of them drive a car? How many of them have car insurance? Are there Progressive commercials, Geico commercials in Haiti? What do you expect when you say, "Hey, everyone is welcome"? No, it's not the same. It's not the same. By the way, when people talk about the Statue of Liberty, which we've done a whole segment on that.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference between people coming here to risk something, which was the Irish, when you had Jews, of course, coming from Eastern Europe, when you had Italian Americans, when you had Polish. We're coming here with the promise of nothing in return other than freedom. That is very different from a giant, modern welfare state, where you attract people to abuse that system who have no skin in the game. How many people in Haiti have cars? How many people have car insurance? How many people in Haiti have trash pickup and understand how that works? How many people in Haiti have lawns that they maintain? Doesn't mean that we're better than them. I would argue it means that the United States is a better country, but you can't bring people from that kind of a place, plop with a giant welfare state and expect people to coexist. No, diversity in this instance is not our strength. It has nothing to do with race and everything to do with a corrupt government who wants to buy votes.
Yeah. And by the way, 3.9 cars per 1,000 people.
Okay.
It's almost a rarity.
That's carpooling.
0.9.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
You got
room. You got room on your roof.
Yes.
It's like the clown car, you know.
Yes, that's right. It's
Uber
they're all
estimate how many
cars.
people I can fit on top of this Honda Cub.
Hope you're flexible.
Well, look, in the hierarchy of caring, people are like, oh, don't you care? It's like, look, I care about people, but I care about American citizens first.
Yep.
And right now, what you're seeing is they care zero about the American citizens that live in Springfield, Ohio. Because think about what she said. We've lived here for 45 years, and we're going to have to pack up and move. Good luck selling your house.
Mm-hmm.
You probably, maybe at that point, you don't have a mortgage, but nobody's going to buy your house now.
Right.
Like, who's going to move into that? More Haitians that government funding is going to pay for? Fine, maybe that's the way out. But now you're trapped.
Yeah.
Usually you can kind of leave. Okay, the big factory closes down. Fine, you can get out of there. You can go, and maybe there's some jobs still around, but that was your job, so you want to go somewhere else. Fine. You just killed an entire town and made it into a crap hole.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to live.
And the New York Times and the Daily Mail praise it.
Yeah.
It's revitalizing the city. Really? Oh, great. You don't have to live there, do you?
Yeah. Go stay there for a week. Then write your story.
It's kind of like when people who live in New York City are telling people in rural West Texas to care more about the environment. Go screw yourself. How about that? And your giant cancerous cloud of a city. No wonder you feel guilty. Everywhere you guys have a city, you screw it up. It's disgusting. It's dirty. And if you believe that the rest of the world treats the environment the same way you do, yeah, I understand why you think we'd have a problem. Speaking of problems, E. Jean Carroll. This broad's
That's
a problem.
Crazy problem.
She has a crazy problem.
She revitalizes me every day. I tell you what. Back to full strength.
She's the woman who, of course, came out and alleged that Donald Trump raped her, of course, and it wasn't corroborated, and it makes no sense. But there's some information that you may not know. We've gone through some other claims versus truths, but there's one that it took me a little while to research, and the researchers here, that I think kind of wraps it in a nice bow. So for those of you who haven't been following the fake rape smear campaigns, allegedly, I guess we have to say that because she may try and sue you for defamation against Donald Trump. E. Jean Carroll, the woman in question, that case in New York, is an insane person, but believe your lying eyes and ears.
I feel like a victim.
I was not thrown on the ground and ravished, which the word rape carries so many sexual connotations. This was not sexual. It hurt.
But I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
We're going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
I had a picture taken years ago with her and her husband, nice guy, John Johnson. He was a newscaster, a very nice man. She called him an ape. Happens to be African American. Called him an ape. The judge wouldn't allow us to put that in. Her dog, or her cat, was named Vagina.
You've talked about using some of Trump's money that you're about to get to help shore up women's rights. Do you know what that might be, what that might look like?
Yes, Rachel. Yes.
Tell me.
I had such great ideas for all the good I'm going to do with this money. First thing, Rachel, you and I are going to go shopping.
Looks like the main guy in Hannibal.
New wardrobes, new shoes, motorcycle
Young
for
Cruella
Crowley,
DeVille.
new fishing rod for Robbie.
In Hannibal,
Rachel,
the guy
what do
whose
you want?
face he ate.
Penthouse?
Someone bring that picture up.
It's yours, Rachel. Penthouse and France. You want France? You want to go fishing in France? No? Oh, all right. Okay.
That's a joke.
Okay. Now I know what people are going to say, and feminists they do such a great job of framing things so that they are beyond any type of criticism. Like, well, actually, you're victim blame. If someone says, "Hey, you raped me," it's like, I wasn't even there that day. Here's a plane ticket. You're victim shaming. It's like, hey, this lady's crazy. Oh, you're trying to gaslight. No, she's actually been certified. Rape culture. Let me read you a little bit more from Carroll before I get to the prestige. She tweeted out that Sex tip I learned from my dog. When in heat, chase the male until he collapses with exhaustion, then jump him.
Interesting.
And she said, there's no such thing as a slut. Only sexual geniuses. Money and power are the objects of a career, and sex is one of the weapons used to obtain them.
Wow.
So
I didn't know Bryan Callen was a sexual genius.
I was going to say, I know. I'm a real slut. That was my old life.
Right, yeah, of course.
I got the scars to show it. Syphilis, but it's personal.
Well, as long as you got a good wig.
I was going
good powdered wig to hide the syphilis.
That you wear down there.
No, that's why they wore powdered
there.
wigs, was to hide syphilis scars on their head. Did
I've
you know
been
that?
wearing it in the wrong place.
Yeah, hence the bulge.
Shucks.
So the media doesn't want you to know this, but this is also important. I can't believe that we didn't cover this. E. Jean Carroll. Now, look, I'm not saying that there aren't women out there who are victims of rape more than once. But when you start getting into, the baker's dozen territory of people who've raped and sexually assaulted you, I'm not saying that you deserve what you're asking for, but at a certain point, you maybe ask, am I a part of this equation? Or delusional? She has accused many, 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 many men of rape or sexual assault, to be clear, throughout her life. Donald Trump's not the first. And by the way, he's not the first wealthy guy who she accused of this. And she stands to benefit, right? Because she has worked a job as a writer where she benefits from publicity. So she lists 21 men in the most hideous men of my life list, by the way. And I believe this is from, we have the all links in the description, but I think there's a paywall at the Atlantic where a lot of this is. So it includes the TV executive Les Moonves, right? She said that he attacked her in an elevator after an interview. Okay. Then she also claimed that a student there when she was at Indiana University drove her to a forest and sexually assaulted her. Which, look, again, I don't know if it's true, but if a guy who you're not that close with is if you say, where are you taking me? And he says, the forest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you in any way deserve any type of imaginary sexual assault. What I'm saying is, hey, that is a judgment at that point where you should take, I think we should pull a Yui.
Or don't get in the car.
I mean, the forest. If it's the woods, it's kind of a little sexier. But
Maybe.
the forest sounds dark.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have to go
dark,
in a while.
yeah, where wolves are.
The only thing more disconcerting would be the abyss.
You come back from the woods, not the forest.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
I mean, the bears go into the woods.
Right.
They're going to have a good time. So there we have Les Moonves. We have a guy at Indiana University. Her boss in Chicago, she says that she fought off an attempt where he was trying to sexually assault her at a hotel. She also accused a Girl Scout, this camp director named Cam, who she said repeatedly molested her when she was 12. Jeez. Then the boyfriend of a babysitter, she said that he made a game of disrobing with the babysitter and then molested Carroll. So there have been many men.
She needs pepper spray.
Many men.
But
I mean,
again, does it mean that none of these things happened?
No, I think one of the childhood things probably happened, and then she's affected for the rest of her life. Not just one, like, every experience just takes me right back to that PTSD moment of getting molested by the babysitter. Or
well, especially if you were molested by the babysitter's boyfriend.
Yeah,
I would imagine you would be extra suspicious. If a boy at university said he was taking you to the woods.
Forest.
What's going to happen in there?
You'd think you'd be on extra alert.
Do you want to go to the Black Forest?
No.
We're just looking for mushrooms.
The
It's
answer
fine.
is no. Always no.
Always no.
I think forests are sexy.
Yes. I think they have truffles.
We can forage for morels.
Yeah.
It's a mushroom.
But if she didn't accuse Hunter S. Thompson of raping her, even though they were kind of contemporaries, where she said that he sliced off her pants with a knife during an acid trip.
Wow.
And she described that one, though, as an adventure. That's an actual quote, an adventure.
That one was okay.
An adventure in survival? Like, what?
That's crazy.
So this is something the media...
Careful of that Bowie knife around my vagine.
And I had to search very long to find this. I searched E. Jean Carroll, other rapes. I searched E. Jean Carroll, claims against other men. E. Jean Carroll, sexual assault history. Jean Carroll, I thought I took out the E.
Yeah.
Sexual assault history. Jean Carroll, how many rape? Could not find it. There was one article with a paywall at the Atlantic. And this woman has written a book where she's been talking about these things, where she talked about these things. The media doesn't want you to know. They want this woman to appear credible. Now, the story with Donald Trump is not credible. We've gone through why that specific story is not credible in any way. But this does matter. This does matter. If this is a person who has gone out and made claims of rape with zero substantiation, while at the same time saying that rape is sexy and encouraging, by the way, rape on her own Twitter, at a certain point you say maybe this person is delusional who creates their own reality.
Yeah.
And maybe Donald Trump was right to say she's crazy. Comment below. I think my personal opinion.
Well, did you see the title of her book? Do you see what it's called?
Crazy in the Forest?
That was the working title.
Oh, okay.
It was the working title. The title of the book, I think, is Do We Really Need Men?
Oh, yes.
How about that?
Yeah.
And so maybe she just doesn't like guys.
Yeah, it could be.
Think about that.
She said she's not had, I read an article where she said she has not had, she's not engaged in intercourse since the Donald Trump incident.
Right. But
she
not
said, but
because,
I'm not because of that.
Yeah.
It's just,
it was luck.
Yeah, it was luck.
Bad luck.
It was luck.
Wait.
She mispronounced me.
Yeah.
We know why it is.
Yeah.
Noodles bring it up.
She's...
Yeah.
Pretty close.
That's horrifying. She's very...
I don't know which one's
She
before.
does seem rather pointy. It's like taking a nap in a wooden chair.
Yes, angular.
You know what I mean? A little angular.
Like
getting Charlie
roping
horses. Right.
a bag of coat hangers.
And there's the book cover, just so you have it.
What do we need men for?
A modest proposal.
Well, I get one could argue the pragmatic reasons, for example, strength, reflexes, speed, in certain instances, the ability to go into war and be effective as a unit.
They invent things,
but
like everything.
But maybe in this case, you need men to help curtail, to help bridle irrational, unchecked emotion, might I argue. But that's kind of the role of men in society. And then women will say, oh, yeah, men. You'll have these modern feminists say, men do that. Have you ever seen a man lose his temper and yell? That's not the same as being delusional. I don't know if you know that. There's actually a value to righteous anger. It has to be bridled. But there isn't a huge value to unchecked emotion that goes completely without consequence for the entirety of someone's life. This is a woman who, if you just read her writing, it's absolutely nuts.
I went back on some of the Donald Trump stuff. One, I don't remember exactly when she alleged this happened or what exactly happened. I think Donald Trump said she alleged something about like in a dressing room, at a department store. I just don't remember.
Which was exactly the plot of her favorite show, Law and Order. One of them. Yeah.
It was in a Bergdorf Goodman shopping, a fitting room. And she said that he pulled her in there, or they went in there together, and then he raped.
Even though it requires lock and key and someone to open up for you, it's like, right? It's like, look, I need you to open stall number 3. I'm gonna rape this bitch.
It's also important to remember that she told the story to her friend, kind of in a joking manner, and her friend said, Gene, you were raped.
Yeah.
And that was when it dawned on her, right? Look, the problem is that when I look at this, I think to myself, this is the problem. It's women get a story. Men get a statement.
Right.
And you can say anything you want. You can make a story up. It can be as old as possible. And there goes your career.
Right.
So that's an imbalance of power. How about that imbalance of power?
Yeah. It's a good point.
You know? 95 or 96, that's what they're saying. Late 95, early 96 is when it was alleged to have happened.
During the Jordan years?
Ever ago. Yes.
Horse mess, dude.
7 championships.
Come on. I don't believe it.
Guys, basketball's not the point.
And research actually just chimed in as well that she initially alleged in 2019 that it took place in 94, then had to switch it because she got called out that her dress didn't exist in 94.
Ooh.
Oh, well. Whatever you need to do to make those
I confused him with the other person I accused of rape. And then she has to change that date and another date.
Yes.
And by the way, hey, we thank you so much for the support here last week. It's actually changed the outcome of the current state of the election. And if you want to help here, you can sign up at mugclubarmy.com. You enroll there on election night. We're going to have not only a team of investigative journalists, but a volunteer army who can help along. And by the way, we actually are paying the volunteers, but I'm just saying, you can go in there and help them. Let's go to the current state of the election. A new poll from the New York Times, Sienna, it says that it's not good for Kamala. This has been one of the most biased polls in her favor. So they have Trump up +1, which of course is within the margin of error. They have Donald Trump 48 to Kamala 47, but that same poll in 2020 had Biden up by 9.
Oops.
And here's the kind of, if you look at those crosstabs, that's the buzzword these days. People who didn't vote in 2020, Trump is up 49 to 40.
Wow.
Harris is only up 8 points in this poll with 18 to 29-year-olds. That is a miracle.
Wow.
Considering that the oldest man ever in office, Biden, was up by 28 points.
Wow.
Jeez, especially with all the paid influencer stuff they've been doing. I thought they'd be better in that group.
This same poll, by the way, because we've had numbers where Donald Trump is, over 20 in other polls, but this same poll, when we're talking about New York Times, Siena, 2020 had Trump only getting 4%. 4% of the black vote. Now 14%.
These are insane numbers.
Hispanics, he's at 41% now compared to 30%. Again, these are lower than most polling organizations out there. With women, he's at 42. In 2020, he was at 35. So now again, just don't behave like you're 10 points down.
Yes.
Okay. But the Nate Silver predictions, by the way, who the left loved, and now we don't really like. They have him at a 63% chance of winning.
Yeah.
The New York Times Siena poll is now saying, this is not going very well. We are going to have Corey Lewandowski on the show in just about 20 minutes here to discuss what's going on with the campaign. I also am getting word that there's some internal polling at Kamala HQ, which reads something like, ah!
Oh, my gosh. Well, look, I think all of us thought the polling was going to switch back a little bit, but I did not expect it to come back like this from that poll. Right. I thought that you would start to see some movement, and then it would take a few weeks and maybe get some momentum after the debate and kind of see how things went. But man, to look at these numbers, they're trying to destroy Donald Trump with women specifically. Right. And he's leading with women. I think was there a crosstab for white women there as well?
It wasn't white women. There was a crosstab for whites.
Well, no, white. Yeah, white. Okay, so white.
56 to 50.
Yeah. So, but with all the work that they have done with like the E. Jean Carroll case, like this is all coordinated. Come on, like don't kid yourselves, right? That with the abortion stuff, with trying to just give him a hard time on every single possible issue with women.
Connecting him to Project 2025 as well.
Well, trying their very best with the lady who licks her lips in weird ways.
I think it's hot. I think it's fascinating.
It's not. You don't go.
She's fascinating to watch.
She is, truly.
What do you do if you're a cannibal?
Gerald's got a big tongue.
In a park.
Yeah. So this is, again, behave like you're 10 points down. And that doesn't just mean vote. That means go out and talk with people and have these conversations, because the more that people are aware of the current state of our country, well, people are already aware. Let me clarify here. Actually, I should be a little more articulate than this. People are aware of the current state of our country. The polls reflect that. The more people are aware as to why. That's your job. We do everything we can here with this platform, but that is your job with your family, with your friends, with your community. You're going to get a haircut, talk about it. Going to pick up a tank of propane, go talk about it. Going to the gas station, talk about it. Have a group with your friends, talk about it. You're in a Bible study group with men, talk about it. Because people already know that we are in a current state in this country that is not good. So just have a conversation as to why. You keep doing that, this country wins. I want to be very clear about that. And boy, what a difference. Because I was pissed off early last week and the week before because of a lot of defeatists out there. And I understand, look, you think the guy who actually went to voting addresses that didn't exist of people who never lived there, you think that it's lost on me that there's election interference? We've had Dr. Epstein on to talk about the algorithm. No, of course. That's why we do what we do. But for people to use that as an excuse to say, it's all, the whole system's rigged, they won't let Donald Trump ever become president, why vote anyway? I was going, what? And they go, Kamala here, she's going to, it's a walk-off. I'm going, well, hold on a second. How? Those are people who like to post motivational quotes because they don't live them. You know what's motivational? Seeing someone day in and day out doing the work when there is no wave of momentum, when there is no enthusiasm. And that's what we've had to do here. And we were getting pissed off going, why isn't everyone out there doing this? Why are so many people waving the white flag? Well, let me just tell you why we knew that was not only something that morally I don't agree with, but on a factual level was incorrect. One day, let's extend it, 48 hours, and certainly a week. What a difference 48 hours can make. So on Thursday, we ran our story on the DOJ, right? This man, Mr. Biasi, undercover with one of our undercover journalists, said that, of course, this was a travesty of justice, right? We ran that story, and it was seen by tens of millions of people. Okay, tens of millions of people when that happened. Now, within a day, the sentencing in the Manhattan case was pushed until after the election. And within 48 hours, as per Nate Silver, it went from 60 to 64%. Actually, before that, in that week, it went from about 50 to 64%.
Wow.
Within the day, RFK Jr. successfully he lobbied, he campaigned, he will be removed from ballots in Michigan and North Carolina. So now you actually see that bump that may take place in those states. And a huge reason that this has taken place is because of you. Because, yeah, can those in power interfere? Yeah. Can they steal? Absolutely. Do they ultimately fear retribution from you, meaning they're so unpopular that they themselves may be canceled? Absolutely. I walked through this in my head when you're talking about Judge Merchant, and I guarantee you, because he announced at 10 p.m. that night.
10 p.m., yeah. I wanted to go back to
that. You know what? We're going to see if we're going to delay the sentence. I'm going to make my statement tomorrow in the morning.
That was supposed to happen 2 days before, on the 16th. 2 days before sentencing, I believe.
Yes.
When it was supposed to.
And then he just said, you know what? We're going to change it to after the election. So, well, let me walk this through. I guarantee you people have spoken and said, have you seen this thing coming out from the DOJ? They talk about Bragg. They say that you guys have been trying to make anything stack these charges up. Everyone has done what Donald Trump has done. This is entirely politically motivated. This guy, who's one of ours, by the way, he works alongside us here in this department. He said that you're out to get him. And when the reporter asked who, he said Democrats. And now Donald Trump is talking about it at his press conference. People are seeing this as a weaponization of the DOJ. And I don't know if you know this, but black American voters don't have a whole lot of faith in our justice system. Look, let me walk you through these scenarios, Judge. Okay? If you wait and you delay this to after the election, okay, if Donald Trump loses, you can prosecute him, you can put him in jail. If Donald Trump wins, maybe he'll show you some mercy. If you do it before then, well, he's probably not going to end up in jail, and either way, he can still run for presidency, and that's going to galvanize his people, especially with this new information coming out, and then you're looking at retribution. It's a no-risk scenario for you to just delay this. Just delay this and hope that he loses, so then you can put him in prison. And those are the stakes right now. So within 48 hours, let's be really clear, Donald Trump went approximately at about 50 to 55%. The odds saying he could win to 64%. There is now a 64% chance that Donald Trump wins the presidency and close to a 0% chance that he's in jail before then. What a difference 48 hours makes. And that's because of you. We wouldn't have been able to do any of this. Yeah. Played a significant role. Mug Club. Tens of millions of you saw it. And just so you know, sometimes you wonder if you're making a difference, especially when you know that there are some grifters out there. And I think that term is overused, but it's true. You know exactly where your dollar is going and what it supports. Donald Trump himself, some people call him former president, some people call him sitting president. I call him a sitting president. You don't have to, okay? He referred to that story multiple times, a story that you made happen as the crux of why this judicial system is corrupt. This is all the culmination of months of tireless work here from the Mug Club Undercover Unit.
I'm the definition of a government.
So you and not want him?
We are terrified.
Before he decided to prosecute Trump, did you know who he was? You do now. You know, it's a perversion of justice.
Sorry, that was the wrong clip, but you can click that button and join up because we are going to be releasing every week or close to it here between now and election, depending on whether we have to be on the road. But we have a lot of pieces that we've been holding back because we wanted you to be able to see that you can make a difference.
Yeah.
And we are an instrument of you. But again, you want to know if this is actually having an impact. Donald Trump himself referred to the story that you supported, funded, and made happen multiple times as the basis for why this is corrupt.
Today, there was a story about somebody in Southern District who's highly respected, knocking the hell out of both of those cases, say it's an embarrassment they were allowed to be brought. Just revealed today, and I hope you're going to do a story because it's a big story, the Southern District of New York was, and this is a very highly respected group of people. He said it was a disgrace that case was brought. It was a disgrace that the case was brought in front of Mershon. The case is a disgrace. Should have never been brought. Just yesterday, the top spokesman, one of the top people in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, that's a very respected Southern District, very, very highly respected, was heard saying and was quoted exactly, quote, honestly, I think this case is nonsense. Now, this is the boss of the whole thing. Every real estate person in New York does what Trump did. Nobody's ever been charged with this before. It's a perversion of justice. He said that the DA's office was, quote, stacking charges against Trump and rearranging things just to make them fit the case. I think it is. This is the boss. I don't know why they don't do something. They ought to drop it. They shouldn't delay it. They should drop it. Drop all of it. Drop all of it.
And that's because of you. And look, none of this happens without you. We've burned the boats going into this election. You were saying something too with Donald Trump. When
That's the most New York word, boss.
Yes, he sounds
so New Yorker when he says boss.
Yeah. The only way he could say is maybe if he said like Santa Claus.
Yeah. He's the boss of the North Pole.
He's the boss of the North Pole, Santa Claus.
That's his new campaign slogan. Who's the boss?
Yes.
I say this with all seriousness too. Like, we have an understanding of what we do here and the impact that we can make because of Mug Club. I think if Donald Trump wins the presidency, which it looks like he's going to, we will look back at this last weekend and this 48 hours, this 72 hours, and Mug Club as a turning point. Mm-hmm. I mean it 100%. We basically just cut the legs out of the argument of prosecutor versus felon.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. Completely.
And that was going to be the dynamic before the debate. And here's the thing. I don't know if Kamala Harris is flexible enough to pivot here, where she's already prepared. I'm a prosecutor, and I've known men like Trump my whole life. Well, really, because actually I'm not a felon.
Right.
And you were an awful prosecutor. The worst, people say. Slave labor you took.
How do you think voters are going to see that? They're going to see, I'm the prosecutor against and then you're like, well, he's not a felon anymore. So now you're just going after an innocent guy? That's what you do? That's what you've been doing?
Yeah, I think what happens with Americans, if we feel like we're being duped, we feel like we're being treated like we're dumb.
Yeah.
Like you can market to us with some campaign, a slogan like joy. Independents don't like that. Americans don't like that. They just go, I want the truth. What's going on here? You treat me like I'm dumb.
You can't just get me with a giggle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's 100% true. Like, and what you said, the defeatism that was out there, we kept telling people, just be patient, just be patient. We just gave them, Mug Club just gave them the shot in the arm that we all wanted.
Yeah.
Not only that, but we hopefully exposed corruption.
There was no reason
levels
for this judge to make that announcement, if not for what you did, honestly. Yeah. And you can comment below how much of an impact you think it had, but if you think it's coincidence.
No way.
No.
But hey, look, we do ask for your support here because it has cost us many millions of dollars. Not just this, but the pieces that are incoming and, of course, the election live stream of the century. There's no reason to tune into Legacy Media or anywhere else. We have everything you need right here that night, as you've already heard me make the pitch. But thank you very much. And tomorrow, of course, we will be live streaming the big debate. Mm-hmm. Could be the most consequential debate in presidential history. I know that was the case between Joe Biden and Donald Trump last time, but in this case, I think it's a greater consequence. Here's why. No one has really heard Kamala speak at all outside of one disastrous interview, and the last time she was on any kind of a stage where she had to debate in a primary, she came in dead last. So
she ran in the 2020 presidential election and didn't make it to 2020.
Right.
That's how bad her campaign was.
She got 1% of the electorate.
And left in 2019.
Yes. And both candidates right now are pretty busy preparing for tomorrow.
Are you ready to face Donald Trump?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Best part of debate prep for you? What's your favorite?
Being at the spice store, I finally got out of the debate prep to look at these spices. Best part of debate prep so far.
Oh, they're waiting for the debate. You know, if I destroy her in the debate, they'll say, Trump suffered a humiliating defeat tonight, no matter what.
So let's be clear here, too, about what is going on, because the media tried to sell us that, Donald Trump was dodging, he wasn't going to debate. This, by the way, is the debate that the media claimed Donald Trump wouldn't do, that he was dodging.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if you know this. Last week, the town hall was the debate that Kamala actually did dodge. Can we make that really clear?
Yeah.
This is the debate that everyone said Donald Trump would duck. The one that you're seeing tomorrow, where both people are on stage. The event last week, the town hall with Sean Hannity, where only one candidate was on stage, is the debate that Kamala Harris refused. You still think the media cares about truth at all? And just to be clear, the rules here, she wants to, I mean, this is an example of a boxer who wants to fight tomato cans. They really are.
Tomato can.
A tomato can.
She's a tomato can.
They call him
Keep your hands
Iron
up.
Mike. They call me the boss. They call me the can opener.
Boss against the tomato can.
So the rules are very similar to they were set up for Biden and Trump, where when it's a candidate's turn to speak, the other candidate's microphone is muted, and that they're supposed to stand up for the entire debate at the podium. All right. And I don't know, because it's gone back and forth, if they've settled on standing or seated for this debate. I want to make sure that we're clear. If Mission Control, if you could let me know, because that was going back and forth. So Kamala dodged the last debate. Didn't do it at all, because Fox News, even though Donald Trump has gone to the NABJ, even though Donald Trump has gone on CNN, even though he's already done, I believe the debate with Biden was on ABC. Was it on ABC, I think, at that point?
CNN.
It was on CNN, that's right. He did give an interview on ABC, I believe, not too long after that. They've gone into enemy territory. Kamala Harris couldn't be bothered to do it once. And then she tries to change the rules for the debate, which her party, I guess the current president, if you believe that, Biden, asked for. Her ticket, let's put it that way. She said that the muted microphones will make her fundamentally disadvantaged. So she wants the microphones on. She wants to have notes. She wants the candidates to be seated. And of course, she wouldn't agree to those other debates. Now, the reason she wants to have the microphones on is because she says, remember when Biden said he was yelling at me and you couldn't hear because his microphone was muted. Well, I don't know if you know this, but there are cameras on.
It was a split screen.
She wants the mics on for a very specific reason, for real. She wants to be able to go, I'm speaking.
Yes.
She wants to scold him. She wants to catch him mansplaining or interrupting her so she can then say, excuse me, I'm speaking. I'm a woman here. Stop being a bully.
Right.
That's the advantage.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And
she was really banking on that. And I do think right now, I think we have Corey Lewandowski ready to go here, I believe. So we can kind of, he was a little early today for us.
Was he a little early? You know what? I appreciate punctuality. So for people who don't know, and you should know, and you should be ashamed if you don't know, this is the man who is the senior campaign official for the Donald Trump campaign. Let's welcome to the program, Corey Lewandowski. Mr. Lewandowski, I appreciate you being early, sir. How are you? Can you see me, hear me all right?
I see you, I hear you, and hey, I would never let a man like you wait. Too important, never happened.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know. I'm so used to being insulted, but I think he's being genuine and kind. Why don't you guys ever do this with me? First off, I have a few questions for you, but I wanted to show this because Donald Trump has quoted this, has cited this in his recent rallies. There's a 20-second clip, the story that we released, Mug Club Undercover, as it related to the DOJ, Nicholas Bayasi, of course, the chief of public affairs. I'd like to play this clip and get the reaction from you because, your opinion actually matters.
The whole thing is disgusting. They're just out to get him. And that's why he's surging in the polls. It's a perversion of justice. You're stacking charges and rearranging things just to make it fit a case. No, to be honest with you, I think the case is nonsense.
What was the point of even doing it then?
To make him a convict.
To make him what?
A convicted felon.
What if he can still run for presidency and...
Yeah, but it affects his candidacy if he's a convicted felon.
So, Mr. Lewandowski, I know you can't see it, but you could hear it. This is where he was saying, I know it could be a little muddled, that they want to stack charges. He said it's a perversion of justice. They wanted to make him a felon. That rug has now been pulled out from under them. What was the sentiment there at the Trump campaign? And one hell of a week last week. A lot of change.
Well, first and foremost, this is something everybody knew, right? We knew that they were targeting Donald Trump, and their only goal was to go after him, not because he committed any crimes, but because they wanted this to be political. And it only highlights the two-tier justice system that Donald Trump has talked about for a really long time. Hillary Clinton was never prosecuted for taking money, giving it to her law firm, and then creating that false Russian steal dossier, of course, right? She wasn't prosecuted for destroying her laptop or the devices or bleach bidding her servers, but Donald Trump is prosecuted for political reasons only. And what we saw was that these DAs ran on going after Donald Trump. But I'll tell you what, Donald Trump said to everybody, he said it to me, hey, they can come after me because I'm the only person standing in the way of them coming after you. So if they want to come after me, I'm here. I'm going to take it, but I will never stop fighting for you.
And did it come as a surprise to you guys the next morning when it was announced that sentencing would be delayed? I mean, that happened right after this was released. I would imagine there was some pressure there. There was no reason. I believe Judge Merchant announced it at 10 p.m. the next day. Yeah, we're going to delay it until after election. Was that a sigh of relief for you guys? Was it a surprise?
Well, look, I'm actually glad that it was delayed, but the reality is this should never even gotten to this point. And, he doesn't want to talk about his daughter, who's making millions of dollars off of Democratic candidates. We know that. We know he's conflicted out. This case never should have been done. But look, am I happy that it's done? Sure I am, because I don't want to see Donald Trump on September 18th going before a judge who could have potentially sentenced him to jail or who knows what, because we know this guy is crooked as they come. So look, let's get through the election. We've got 8 weeks and 1 day, and then we'll deal with this after the election's over.
Let me ask you this. I don't know if you have some inside information here. I mean, of course you do. I don't know if you can tell me. I should be clear. You have
I'll tell you anything.
Do you have any insight here? Obviously, this new poll is good for Donald Trump. It's within the margin of error, but quite a big swing here this last week from the New York Times. But I'm hearing that the internal polling that is happening there at Kamala HQ is even worse. Do you have any insight into that?
Well, they don't tell me what they're doing over there, fortunately, but I think it's very clear they're in trouble, right? I mean, look, the sugar high is over. When the New York Times is saying that she's in trouble, which is what they said yesterday based on that new poll that came out that shows Donald Trump with a +2, they know that's the case. She's hid from the media for over 50 days. One cheesy little interview on CNN that she talked for 16 minutes and seconds and didn't have any pushback other than one time where Dana Bash asked her about fracking. But look, let me just give you some empirical data. I just happen to bring it in case you guys want to hear it.
Yes.
Okay, where we are today as where we were both 4 and 8 years ago. 4 years ago today, Joe Biden had a 7.5-point lead in the national average. And 8 years ago today, crooked Hillary had a 2.7% lead in the Real Clear Politics average. Today, Donald Trump is winning by 4 points. So that's a swing of between 11 points against Biden and about almost 6.7 points against Crooked H. But let's go to some of the battleground states. And I want to be clear about this.
It makes her sound like Arizona, a drug, Crooked H. Hey, you want some Crooked H?
By the way, she is a drug. You know that. And election night, I think she was on some Crooked H.
But she's an easy drug to quit, though. That's the good part.
Yes. So listen, in Arizona, we're running 7 points better than we were 4 years ago at this time. In the state of Georgia, 1.4 points better than we were 4 years ago at this time. In the state of Michigan, 2 points better than we were 4 years ago at this time. In the state of North Carolina, 2.2 points better than we were 4 years ago. In the state of Pennsylvania, 4 points better than we were 4 years ago. And finally, in the state of Wisconsin, 4.8 points better on this day specifically than we were 4 years ago, which tells me, not anecdotally, but with empirical data, Donald Trump is in the strongest position he's ever been in to win election in November.
Yeah, and I think, and just to be clear, I think people should act as though that's not the case, because I don't want people to become complacent. And look, tomorrow could be. I'd like to get your expectations for tomorrow, Mr. Lewandowski. But I will also say my biggest concern, and I think the biggest concern of people who are Trump supporters, is it was such a great performance against Joe Biden, right? And of course, it was a disaster for Joe Biden, where it's almost like you can't top that. You know what I mean? It's a sequel where people will be disappointed no matter what, because that was a walk-off knockout. And I just hope that, of course, no one is underestimating Kamala. We have a clip of Donald Trump saying he wasn't preparing because she's not bright, but I'm sure that's a little bit of embellishing, really, just for the media there. Let me ask you this: what do you expect at the debate tomorrow, and what is the strategy?
Well, I don't think Kamala's going to drool on herself like Joe Biden did during the debate. So I think she's probably going to raise the bar a little higher than Uncle Joe, and she probably can walk off the stage by herself, and her husband probably doesn't say, "Good job, honey, you answered all the questions. We're so proud of you," right? Which is what Dr. Biden told Uncle Joe afterwards. So, look, that bar is a little higher. But that being said, Donald Trump is the big game player. He's the guy who you want the ball in his hands with just seconds left, because he always rises to the challenge. He is fully prepared for this. I think all the pressure is actually on Kamala Harris. She has to justify how her positions have changed, but her values haven't. She has to justify how 4 and 5 years ago, when she was running for president, she said things which are very different today. She has to justify why she won't answer questions to the American people. And I think what she's going to do is she's going to try and prosecute a case against Donald Trump. But she will also run and hide from her record, first as the Attorney General, then as a U.S. Senator, and lastly as the Vice President of the United States. She has nothing to stand on. She can't stand on Bidenomics. She can't stand on the wall. She can't stand on the issue of immigration or the issue of crime. She will try and paint Donald Trump as anti-woman, I'm sure of it, so that she can say, you have taken away a woman's right to choose. That is not true. Of course. Donald Trump, through the appointment of 3 U.S. Supreme Court justices, returned that back to the states. So we know what's going to happen here. The question is, are the moderators going to let these two individuals talk? And to CNN's credit, that's what they did, other than pointing, other than Dana pointing to Joe which way to look because he was, looking out into space.
Yes.
I think they were pretty fair.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. I think if Donald Trump is given the opportunity to continue to articulate his message to the American people of what our best days are, which are in front of us still, and remind people of the disastrous last 3.5, almost 4 years, we're going to win this thing hands down.
Now, getting rid of the political strategy, just from one guy to another, I want to know, what has your reaction been, and when you're with President Trump, when you hear the news that Kamala is copying his policies? Like, what was the reaction when she said, and I think no taxes on tips, or when she said, and I'm going to build a wall? Were you guys losing your minds?
I don't know what I can actually say on the podcast without being censored, so I'm going to use my, my best reservations, okay? It's insanity is the only word I can use. Look, the New York Post did a story of her putting a MAGA hat on because now all of a sudden she's in favor of a border wall. Now all of a sudden she's in favor of fracking. Now all of a sudden she's in favor of no tax on tips. Where the heck has she been for the last 4 years? They had the opportunity to fix these problems. They don't want to. And listen, when a candidate tells you what they believe them. She was telling us the truth 4 years ago when she said the wall is a vanity project and people shouldn't be charged for crossing into this country illegally. She had the opportunity to make sure that those families that have been decimated by illegals pouring across the border never happened, and she gave up on it. And look, it isn't a flip-flop. It's an actual lie. It's a lie that she's saying that she wants the border wall built because if she and Joe Biden want it done, they could have done it on day one. They've only changed their position for politics. We call her the chameleon. You never know which one she's going to get, and it all depends on who she's talking to.
Right. Yes, it's of more consequence, the wall thing. But the no tax on tips thing, to me, on a personal level, is funnier because it's so specific. And she cast a tie-breaking vote on policy that determined more control over the federal government and tips. Like, I've got to imagine that you guys are like, what? What the hell? She said she's supporting no tax on tips? I can't imagine what you guys were doing at the HQ when that happened. It's so specific. It's clear plagiarism.
Well, it's Donald Trump's idea, which is the crazy thing. Look, she has to take Donald Trump's ideas because she has none of her own. And look, Tim Walz, hey, I made a grammatical mistake. Hey, dude, nobody makes a grammatical mistake if they think they were carrying a gun into war. Okay? It's just a total fabrication, a total lie. My wife says I don't talk properly. It was a grammatical mistake. What the hell are you talking about? I mean, it's just insanity.
Oh, no, I had a cold. So when I said I went to war, it's just because I was stuffy. What I meant to say is I did not go to war. You misheard it.
Exactly.
Because
you misheard me say I abandoned my friends who went off to war when I, didn't go.
I think you're putting words in his mouth there. But again, people understand that that's satire, people. Let me ask you this. Are you guys going to still push for more debates since she's trying to only have one? Is there any word on that?
Well, look, we have offered to participate in a Fox News debate. It was originally going to be last week when Donald Trump did the town hall with Sean Hannity instead. And let me just clear up the air on some of this debate stuff.
Yeah.
When we negotiated originally with the Biden-Harris campaign, her name is on that campaign originally, the criteria was very clear. They wanted to make sure that we stood at podiums, there were no notes, and the microphones were off. The same criteria for both the presidential and the vice presidential debates. When Joe Biden got thrown to the curb by his party and she was anointed to take over this thing, they came back and said, we want to be seated because we want to have parity with Donald Trump. We have to bring notes. Oh, and by the way, we want to keep our microphones on. And the latest gimmick that they're trying to pull is we'd like to have a box to stand on to make her look taller. Okay, we said absolutely not. All of these things.
Wait. She asked for a box?
She wanted a little step up, like a little high chair almost, that she could stand on to make her look a little taller, So, and
like she's Tom Cruise's stand-in? Is this official? She actually asked that of the network?
Look at the interview she did with Dana Bash. It looked like she was in the principal's office. Tim was this tall. She was this tall. I said, what the heck is going on? Somebody should be fired for this. I mean, how awful is this? Yes. Right? It was incredible. So now she wants to look taller because she's like 5'3" or 5'4", which is fine. But Donald Trump is much, much taller. Okay?
Yes.
So she wanted parity. And we said, hey, no more props, no more gimmicks. Let's agree to what we already had.
Yeah, although I think it would be funny if just from the layman here, campaign strategy say we agree to a stool, we agree to a box if it's made of Jenga pieces, and let it fall where they may. But Mr. Lewandowski, I know you are busy. What's the best thing you think for the American public to know here in closing as we head into this debate?
It's very simple. This election is going to determine if you've got economic security, fiscal security, and national security. And if you care about your country, Donald Trump will close the borders. He will make sure that more people are working and keeping their hard-earned income. And he will make sure that our enemies around the world fear us once again and our allies respect us. That is not happening right now. We'll take care of our military. We will remember those 13 dead at the Abbey Gate withdrawal, which the anniversary of 3 years just passed about a week ago. And we'll make sure that we can make America great again, but we can only do it with the help of everybody. Let's go save this country.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. Go be well. Corey Lewandowski, everybody.
Thanks.
All right. That was, and we have more to get to here in a little bit. Did you notice he starts talking more like Trump?
Yes, he has the hands.
He's like, this is horrible. Like someone should be fired. I mean, I'm Corey now.
I also thought he sounded like a comedian on a podcast or like on a show.
A little bit.
He got a little excited and he was throwing out he was talking some shit.
Did anyone know this about her asking for a box?
He should say, if you get a stool, he should say, if you get a stool, then I get a stool.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Donald Trump,
hey, equality.
He just comes out on stilts. Where did I get a lot of this?
I want equity.
Or they should just make her give her 5 stools or one big stool. And she has to her pants are above the podium.
Or she shows up as just a booster seat.
This whole thing's a sham, and he pulls the stool from under her.
I love it.
How about this? Hey, your tomato can. I told you she wasn't as tall a tomato can. She's the economy size.
Look at this. That ass is a byproduct of shrinkflation. No ass.
No ass.
She has to sit on an inflatable donut.
She's got a graft.
Black my ass.
That could be misinterpreted.
Okay, do me a favor. I know we have to go to Mug Club. I'll ask research in Mug Club to do it.
What?
Pull the picture of her and Wall sitting for the Dana Bash interview.
Yeah, she looked like the Oscar Mayer kid.
I literally turned to my wife and I said, "Oh my gosh, somebody's going to meme this." And I don't know that
the first thing I thought when he said she wanted a stool. I was like, "Oh, that's probably because she looked like a child sitting next to Tim Walz."
Yes. Yeah.
In that diner. And why does she want to sit at the debate? She looked like that.
Well, because if she stands, she's incredibly little.
Going to look much smaller.
Oh, I guess.
She won't shake hands. I guarantee you that. You don't want to put her next to Donald Trump.
No. You also don't want to put her hand in his hand.
No, there's a better angle.
Look at that.
There's a better
Tim Walz been drinking his milk. That's a giant Minnesota Viking.
A little more than that. But.
You mispronounced whiskey.
Whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, he has DUI, so it stands to reason. Yeah. Okay, look, before we, you wanted the additional picture. Okay, we're going to go to Mug Club, but before we go to Mug Club, really quickly, how consequential could this debate be? Elections are won and lost in moments. I've talked about that. Especially now in the age of social media. A lot of people won't see the whole debate, but it'll be clipped and it'll go on TikTok, it'll go on Instagram, it'll go everywhere. And so you need to be able to create an environment where there is a moment. And what do I mean by moment? I don't just mean a soundbite, but if you do it right, you can ensure that there's a beginning, middle, and end where people actually have an answer that they can take with them contextually. Let me give you some moments in debates where, and of course we're going to go to Mug Club after this. You can click that button. None of this happens without you. You want more investigative journalism? Thank you for the work you've done. Pat yourself on the back. Going to go through some moments here. 1960, the debate. Nixon lost to Kennedy the moment people saw his sweaty 5 o'clock shadow.
That we not just hold our own, that we not keep just freedom for ourselves. It is essential that we extend freedom